Hello again. Thank you for tuning back into my channel. Today I just want to talk to you about another low-cost, high-value guitar that I just acquired just before the Christmas break here. We are at January 6th today, I believe, and of 2018. And I got this guitar just before Christmas. I got it the Thursday before the Christmas weekend this year. So had not played this guitar before. It is a Squier Affinity Jazzmaster, by the way. And I had not played one of these, but I had seen them online, mainly on YouTube, but also on some websites and some Instagram pages that I follow. And people were having really good experiences with the Affinity series stuff, mainly the Strats. Didn't see a whole lot of stuff on the Jazzmaster, but the stuff I did see I really liked. So I thought, I'd never been a Jazzmaster guy, and I didn't think I would ever own one until I saw the Jim Root signature Jazzmaster from Fender. Beautiful guitar, except that I don't have the $100 it costs to purchase here in Canada. That would be the Canadian price. I believe it's $2,200 plus taxes and everything. So, and what I liked about the Jim Root Jazzmaster, aside from it's got a whole bunch of high-end parts on it and it sounds really good, is that it doesn't have the trem system. And so when Squier came out with this Jazzmaster without the trem system on it, I just fell in love with it immediately because it was the right price. Again, I'm like a bedroom player. I don't play out live very often. So for me, this was kind of just like the best of both worlds. And I thought, at the price it's a Squier, it's not going to be great, but I can mod it and make it however I want. I was planning on putting a better neck on it, but I'll get to that in a bit. I'm not going to do that anymore, but I'll get to that in a little bit. And so, like I said, when I saw it, I just kind of fell in love and just kind of had to have it. And so I tried to go and play one at the local music stores. They did not have any. They had Affinity Strats, which I played, and they felt okay. They didn't feel great. But they felt good enough, like I said, and I thought I would just put a better neck on it. And so I ordered it online from, I believe it's called Axe Music. They're a distributor, I think, out of Alberta somewhere. And again, sight unseen, hadn't played it, just had seen it in pictures. And when it got to the house, I was so pleasantly surprised with this guitar and how well it played and how it sounded. And so maybe I'll just go through a couple of the quick pros and cons that I've noticed since I've had it. Again, I've had it only since, for a couple of weeks now, a few weeks. And I haven't had a ton of time to play it. I've probably maybe played it somewhere between 2 and 3 hours. So I know it a little bit, but I don't, I haven't really gave it the full 100% yet. But I haven't played it really above bedroom levels, obviously, just having it here at home. But here's the stuff that I've noticed just from having it in that time. And I'll start with the cons, start with the negative stuff first and just get it out of the way because there's not a ton of it really. So the first thing I noticed was that the switch, pickup selector switch, and the jack input are probably the two weakest parts of this whole guitar. The pickup selector switch just feels a little bit cheap to me. I don't know what it is about it. It just doesn't have a good quality to it. I don't know. And then the input jack already doesn't feel very positive when you plug into it. Like the first couple times I did it was okay, and then the more I plugged and unplugged the patch cord, it's to the point now where if I plug it in and if I jiggle the patch cord just a little bit, the guitar cuts out altogether, which leads me to believe that is an incredibly cheap input switch, and that will need to be or input jack, and that will need to be changed very soon. So that's the first con is kind of cheapy electronics, which is not a surprise given that this is a Chinese crafted guitar and it's at a very low price point. So the second thing I noticed right off the bat was the fret ends are a bit sharp, and again that's an easy fix. I mean, that's just a little bit of filing. They'll probably come out perfect, but again, they are a little bit sharp. They are hard on the fingers. They didn't sprout from the fretboard though, which is nice. So along the top and bottom edge, if you just run your finger, you can't really feel it. It's not until you sort of grab it and play that you can feel those sharp edges. But that being said, they still need a bit of work to get to where they need to be for comfort of playing anyway. They can be played the way it is, but it could be better. The nut on this guitar, I noticed, also is not great. It's a plastic nut. You can just see visually that it's not a quality component. So that could probably stand to be changed, but it'll do for now. It's okay the way it is. It just could be better. The guitar also came up set up for 9s, which is not my ideal. I like at least 10s. On my Telly, I have 10s. On everything else, I have 11s. Like on my Les Paul, I play 11s. So 9s to me just felt a little bit light, and I think they could have probably gone with 10s on this guitar, and it might have even sounded just a teeny bit better with 10s on it, but that's just my opinion. It's kind of it for the cons, for the negative stuff. But the pros definitely outweigh the cons for this. So let me run down those. The first pro, and then probably the best part of this guitar, to me anyway, in my opinion, is the neck. The neck feels amazing. It is a one-piece maple neck with this unfinished sort of satin feel to it. And I have played very few real Fenders that, in my opinion, again, and I know there's going to be people that will say, no, you're wrong, but in my opinion, this neck feels amazing compared to even some high-end Fenders that I've played. The edges of the fingerboard are sort of rolled a little bit, and they're just finished very nicely. If it weren't for the sharp fret ends that I mentioned before, this neck would be perfect. And I was going to change this neck, as I said earlier in the video. I am no longer going to do that. This neck is amazing. It is staying on this guitar probably for the life of the guitar, unless something happens to it, because it is just, in my mind, it's just an amazing neck. It feels great. The fingerboard feels awesome. Rosewood fingerboard, just beautiful, and I will not be changing it. That's the biggest pro of this guitar, in my opinion. The second pro I already mentioned was that it has no trem. I hate those goofy looking trems. Sorry for all you Fender Jazzmaster fans. I don't like the trem system. I think it just uglies up the guitar to a point where I never wanted to own a Fender Jazzmaster just because of that trem system. The pickups are a pro, even though I said earlier that the electronics were kind of a negative. The pickups on this actually sound fairly decent for a guitar at this price point. They're not great, but they're much like my, I don't know if you can see it in the background here still or not, but my Epiphone SG review. They're not the best, but they're not the worst either. They are tolerable pickups. They sound pretty decent. In my opinion, they sound pretty good clean. It's sort of on the dirty side that they get a little bit muddy, but on the clean stuff, they actually sound pretty good, and you'll hear that in a little bit when I play. So the fit and finish on this guitar was actually really good as well. That was another thing that really stood out to me. I was afraid that things like the neck pocket, where the neck joins the body, you would have gaps, and there are some gaps, but they're not crazy. And even if I did a close-up, maybe I'll try to do that actually and see if you can see it, but just a hair, just down here where the neck meets the body, right here at the pickguard, there's a little bit of a gap, and I doubt you'll even be able to see it in the picture, but it is pretty decent. Again, like a little bit of a gap there, but nothing major, like nothing you wouldn't expect for a guitar that cost this much. But the fit and finish was actually really good. Like, I was super shocked when I picked it up and started to actually look at it, and the paint, and the way they roll the edges of the fingerboard so they're comfortable and all that kind of stuff. So I was very pleasantly surprised with that. And last but not least, probably the other biggest pro, other than the neck, is what it costs. This was $269.99 Canadian plus the taxes. It was free shipping to my door, and I think all in, I paid $306 for this guitar, and it is amazing. It's brand new. I am the first consumer to play this guitar, and no one else has had their dirty fingers on it or whatever. So I was surprised that $269.99 that I could get a guitar of this quality. So that's kind of it for my rundown. Obviously, I have a very high opinion of this guitar, but I'll play it now for you. I'll take a minute and go away and set things up, and then when I come back, I'll play it for you, and then I'll just come back and we'll talk about it a little bit more, and then I'll sign off. Okay, so stay tuned, and we'll get some clean stuff played for you and some dirty stuff, and I'll do a mix-up of the pickups back and forth. I won't tell you when I'm changing, but I'm sure you'll hear it and you'll see me on the switch back and forth, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so as you could hopefully hear from those clips, this guitar has a very broad range of sounds. Playing with the tone control can give you some like really nice humbucker slash types even sounds, even from a Fender style instrument like this one, or a Fender instrument. It is a Fender instrument, even though it's a Squire. But you can also get some nice chimey cleans as well, especially with both pickups mixed. I really like that sound of having both pickups played together on the clean channel. It just, to me, that has a certain quality to it that I really like way better than either of the pickups individually on their own on the clean. Sorry for my sloppy playing. I'll apologize for that. But hopefully, again, it was sort of a bit of a range of sounds you could hear there from my mic setup there. And just to give you an idea of what I was playing through, so obviously it's the Squier Affinity Jazzmaster, the Marshall DSL 15 head with no effects at all. I had the amp set up full. The President's bass, mid, and treble were all set full blast with the tone shift on and the deep switch engaged. And then the cabinet is just like a cheapy 112 cabinet with a Celestion G12 T75 in it, and I'm mic'd up with an SM58 copy microphone into a mixer and into my computer. But there's no effects on the guitar at all. The amp is set up on basically flat, so everything's full. Just to give you an idea of what you could get without, any kind of effects or anything on it. I'm sure with a bit of reverb on it, which this amp doesn't have, otherwise it probably would have had a little bit of reverb on it. But with a little bit of reverb on it and some other effects, I think this thing could really honk, even in the configuration it's in. I think it's a fantastic guitar for $300 to your door, Canadian, less in the States, obviously, with the conversion and stuff. You're getting a really quality instrument, and whether you're just getting started playing or whether you are a seasoned vet to the guitar, with a little bit of modification, this could be a fantastic lifelong instrument. And I don't see any reason anybody would need anything more than this, other than simply wanting something more high-end that has a little bit more quality to it. But you could easily get away with playing this. I shouldn't say you. My opinion is I could play this. If this was my only guitar for the rest of my life, with a little bit of modification, I would be happy with it forever. So take that for what it's worth. I'm like an average Joe bedroom guitar player, so again, my opinions are sort of my own. But hopefully, if you're thinking about getting one of these, this guitar has swayed you to go out and pick one up, because they are fantastic. Okay, thank you again for tuning into my channel, and hopefully it won't be another month before I do another video. I've got some other guitars that I want to review for you that I have enjoyed for many years in my collection, and hopefully I get those videos out to you sooner than later. So thank you again for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button if you liked what you saw and heard. Thank you very much. So long.